are you? Now, today I want to talk about something what came up on our holiday recently, and it is all about pleasure. It is all about how being in your feminine energy, being in your body, and in your pleasure can entirely change your experience of life and, of course, of the particular moment you are in. And this is really what came up on a couple of occasions on our holiday. And first one was when I went for a Zumba class. It was a Zumba class in Spanish, and mind you, I don't speak any Spanish at all. And actually, it was even like my first Zumba class overall. But because I do have a background in ballroom dancing, when I was in my 20s or so, for about a period of 13 years, so even before that, right, I was doing ballroom dancing competitively. And so, I kind of tend to approach these kind of things. Okay, I'll get the steps in, and then I release the flow, and then I bring in the flow and the pleasure and the feminine energy. And that's basically kind of my default approach to it. Okay, so here I am at that class, and this girl who was doing the Zumba, who was, she was leading us, she brought in lots of beautiful dance moves, beautiful feminine moves with her arms and her body. And honestly, she was speaking in Spanish, so I did not understand anything at all. And because it was a very short space of time, I was at first trying desperately to pick up the moves, to pick up the steps, but I just couldn't. And about halfway through, I just gave in, and I leaned into the process, and I released this need of controlling my performance, of controlling whether the steps were correct or not. And instead I just listened to the music, and I actually allowed my heart to lead. I literally said, so what? Nobody knows me anyway, right? Nobody knows me here, nobody knows my background or whatever, and I am not here to impress anybody. I'm actually here just to enjoy myself. And so I totally, messed up all the steps, doesn't matter, but because I leaned into my heart, into my feminine energy, into the pleasure, I felt the music through my heart. I actually had tears in my eyes eventually, because it just was so touching. I just loved the music, and the flow, actually entered my body. I allowed for that flow to enter. And for me, it was essentially a deep spiritual experience. It really was, because I just got lost in the music and in the movement, and I was so enjoying it. It was a very different level to compare to when I was doing ballroom dancing, right? When every step has to be curated properly, and the flow comes only after you master your steps. Here, I did it in the reverse order, and it was just magical. It was just magical. So yeah, I just really needed to share that with you. Then another thing which came to me when basically going into my pleasure, going into my body and into my feminine energy of being in the present moment and just feeling where I am and enjoying it, kind of emphasize the whole experience. So another moment was in the sea. In the sea. And so again, another thing, I love, absolutely love morning swims in the sea. Yes, when there's nobody around at around 9 a.m. on the beach, nobody's there, and I'm just all by myself. The sea is like a pond, and it just gently rocks me. And so that's one thing on these holidays I absolutely live for. And so about halfway through our holiday, however, during the day swim, I got stung by a jellyfish. First time ever, and it wasn't anything dramatic, but Because I got stung by a jellyfish, I suddenly, just suddenly fear came in. I just suddenly didn't feel that safe in the sea anymore, and even in the mornings, and it started bothering me because that kind of surrendered and just joy and pleasure feeling from my morning swims suddenly was stained by this fear. And so I battled with this for a couple of days, and then I realized, you know what, no, I won't allow fear to control my experience, my pleasure, and I won't allow fear to rob me of this beautiful experience of my morning swims. And so I needed to focus deeply on being in my body rather than in my head. And therefore, I was focusing deeply on being in my feminine energy, right? Again, in the flow, in the feelings of it, in the joy of the swim. And you know what? I got rewarded for that. I got rewarded for that. First of all, not only that I really was able to switch off the brain, but second of all, it was, I think, a day before last, when I went for the morning swim. Suddenly, I heard they splash around me, and I was quite far from the coastline, so it couldn't be anywhere there. And I was just thinking, what's going on? And then about 20 meters away from me, further to the sea, there were two groups of fish jumping up and down from the water, and they were just glistening in the sunlight, and it was just so amazing. And I just felt like it was a reward for me, a reward that I didn't allow fear to stain my pleasure. And despite of the fear, I just was there and enjoying the sunlight and enjoying being rocked by the sea. And then these gorgeous fish arrived, and they just brought another level, deeper level to this experience. Yeah. And the third kind of moment when I realized again how joy and the feminine energy can really bring experience to the next level. So the third moment was when I walked along the sea line and on the beach, and then I just noticed there was a lady in her bikini with a stoma bag. Now, I don't know whether you know what a stoma bag is, but if, for whatever reason you're not able to eliminate, then they just put, they put a stoma bag to your belly, to your intestines, and you eliminate through that. And so at first I was like, I was like, right? I wanted to kind of look the other way. And then, and then I just smiled, and I just realized how incredibly empowering and liberating and activating she is. Because despite her circumstance, despite, the odds which may have been stuck up against her, right? She said, you know what? I don't care whether I have a stomach bag coming out of my belly or not. I'm gonna wear bikini. I'm gonna do what I love. I'm gonna go and swim. I'm gonna be with my friends and enjoy myself. She decided to be in her feminine energy, in her pleasure, enjoy her life despite the circumstance. And I just think it was so beautiful, and I still have that picture in front of my eyes. And so, yeah, I needed to share that with you because we often forget. It's so easy. It's so easy to forget because of life happening around us fast, and because of us being plugged into different worlds, which are all about achievement and about doing things certain way, and different deadlines and different goals. It's easy to be in that masculine energy rather than enjoy our feminine nature, rather than allow pleasure to enter our body and then feel the flow. And in my opinion, that's where the magic comes from, right? Of course, we need our masculine energy. We need to, do and comply to certain rules or whatever, to hit certain targets and stuff like that, depending on the situation you are in. But we should never forget about that feminine side of us, about that pleasure and joy and the magic. It's like the yin and yang. young, right? It's like flowing water and the riverbed. It's just together, it creates the magic of life. And so I wanted to mention that to you, and I hope that, yeah, that will brighten up your day a little bit. And so take care of yourself, and I'll talk to you soon. Bye.